It is another edition of the On the Mic podcast, and 8 o'clock here, local time in the morning. And if there's one fighter I'm going to wake up for, it's going to be a man that I have an utmost respect for. First time on the podcast. I think I've been chasing this interview for over a year. So I'm thankful to the parties involved that got him. And Brendan Loughnane, thank you so much for joining me for the first time here on the show. How are you, sir?
Pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I know you're in Thailand right now. How is everything going for you over there?
Fantastic. Having a great time.
So your story, man, one thing I love is that you don't hold back. You're very brash, straightforward, to the point. And one thing I always wanted to talk to you about was there seemed to be this narrative up until your last fight where everyone wanted to write your story, right? Everyone wanted to say he went over to the PFL. He was this, he was that. They wanted to talk your previous stops. They never just gave you credit for going in and basically doing the damn thing in PFL. And here you are now, just weeks away from a championship final. When you look back and see all the steps that it's taken you to get to where you are today, how do you reflect on this journey of your career so far?
Well, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I started mixed martial arts in 2008. I was 16 years old. I was doing it before it was cool. And I've had the craziest journey in the world. I've been all over the world, fought some fucking fantastic fighters, made memories with my friends and family. Like, what a whirlwind of an experience. And November 25th, I get to top it off with $1 million and a nice big shiny gold belt.
I do want to ask you about, your matchup on November 25th against Bubba Jenkins for the PFL world title and $1 million. But first and foremost, man, there's so many things I got to ask you. I just love your story. I love your personality as a person. I love the way you fight as a fighter. There's so many things. Like, if you're not in Brendan Loughnane's business, you're doing it wrong. I just love everything about. Let's go back to the fight against Chris Wade. I know immediately after. What a beautiful performance. I know there was a lot of heat leading up to it. And obviously heard you on Ariel. No, none of that was fabricated or made up. But immediately Bubba Jenkins gets brought into the cage, and it's so beautiful. What I love about this sport, you can go from real animosity, real heat to one fight to going, oh, I'm fighting this guy in a few months. All right, yeah, I like this guy. What is it for you that you actually respect Bubba Jenkins and like about Bubba Jenkins?
It's just hard for me to be fake. Like, I don't like Chris Wade. I never liked him. And then it's hard for me to do fake handshakes and fake bravado. If you ever see me involved in MMA beef, it's real. Like, I can't sit here and talk shit about Bubba Jenkins because I have respect for him. I like him. I like his coach and his team. Like, so one thing you'll always get with me is reality. But yeah, listen, he's a great fighter. He's had a great season. My season's been up and down. We're both on 3 wins now. And it's time to put on a great final for the fans.
Man, you get me so excited, not just finally talking to you, but just I hear you say these things, and you said it in the cage. Your last 2 fights before your last one, your win against Chris Wade, you said those 2 performances were shit. And now it's like, wait, but you just won 3 in a row. It's just something in you, Brendan, and correct me if I'm wrong, always wanting to be better than your last fight, always wanting to be the best version of yourself. Most people would just be happy with a 3-fight win streak. Some fighters never see that. Are you satisfied yet when you look back? I know you still have a title to win, but are you happy at all with the performances you've had this year?
I'm extremely happy with the Chris Wade fight. I feel like I got to express the best version of myself, which is really difficult to do in MMA with all the variables, with injuries, with teams, with jet lags, with all the shit that goes in it. So I was really happy that I got to express myself, especially with a grudge match like it was, because I genuinely didn't like him. I still don't really like him, to be honest. So I'm glad I got to kick his ass.
I was going to say, now that the fight is over, I guess you kind of answered it, but now that the fight's over, still a little heat there? Still not a fan of Chris Wade?
Nah, I showed him what time it was. He said a lot of things leading up to it. Said he was going to do this. He was going to do that. And he did absolutely nothing. So that's the end of that story. Next.
You're a staple in the UK. If you're not following UK MMA, you're doing it wrong. But secondly, if you don't know who you are, you're definitely doing it wrong. To have, especially in a week like this week, God rest the Queen, obviously passed away at 96 this week. First, I wanted to ask your thoughts on what that's like, right? Because over here in the States, it's completely different. I know you're in Thailand right now, but what was the Queen's passing like for you personally?
Yeah, it's a big moment in the UK. The Queen is an icon, obviously, longest reigning monarch. And yeah, I mean, like I say, I've been in Thailand, so I've not really felt the brunt of it like everybody else in the UK. But obviously, it's a big moment for my country. And I was very shocked when I seen it. When I seen it was officially that she died, I was like, wow. It's a big moment for UK.
But a beautiful celebration taking place now all over the world to remember her. But going to, where you're from in the UK, I mean, there's so many things that we could look forward to, right? Obviously, Leon Edwards just won the welterweight title in the UFC. You're fighting for a world title. UK, I mean, there's so many names, so many fighters, but specifically yourself, what does it mean to fight for the UK, to represent everything that you do in such an area where MMA has grown over the past 10 years, and you're a big reason for that. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it's massive, isn't it, when you think about it? We're about to get, we only ever had one UFC champion up until this year, and that was Michael Bisping, ever. We had 2 title challengers, that was Dan Hardy and Darren Till. And we've now got a UFC champion who just beat the pound for pound. And in November, about to have our first PFL champion. We'll have 2 major titles in the UK, and that's just the start.
What does it mean to have that country behind you? I can only imagine, what your last fight was like, and just how great PFL has been doing in 2022. But for you to really cap off this season, especially coming off, your win over Chris Wade, and now this performance where obviously if you go in and do what you expect to do on November 25th and win the title, when you win that title, what will representing the UK mean to you?
Everything. I've been a staple in the UK for years. I've been fighting all the best guys around the UK, Europe, and now the US, and now international. So, for me, to bring a world title back to the UK is going to be the most incredible feeling and the best moment of my life. And it's something that I envision daily, and something that I really look forward to doing, especially for my family, the team that's been around me from day one, and for the UK, like you said.
Now the vision is there, the goal is there, obviously, right? But as I said earlier, so many people wanted to write your story for you. They wanted to tell your story before you were able to tell it yourself about your career path. But now you're here, you're knocking on the door of a PFL world title. You have a whole country and nation behind you. And the talent is there. I mean, I don't need to tell you how talented you are. You know how talented you are. When you look at what the PFL has offered you, in terms of your career, in terms of money and opportunities, how do you feel your relationship is with the PFL, and how will it be moving forward?
I have the best relationship ever with the PFL. From Don Davis to Pete Murray to all the back staff, great people. I'm 7-1 in PFL now, and I've got 1 split decision loss to Movlid Abulayev, the current champion. So what more can you say about that, really, Matt? The numbers speak for themselves.
Absolutely. I won't keep you for too much longer, Brendan. I can't say enough how much I appreciate your time today. Like I said, I said, I've been trying to interview you for a year, man. So getting you on here, it's been a super honor for me. But you talk about what could be coming after this fight, looking at 2023 and all. Some fighters are looking at the PFL, potentially talking about crossover fights, cross promotion fights. With a belt around your waist and $1 million in your bank account, I know you got more than that, but if you get $1 million check and a world title, I know some champions want to go through the whole season again and defend their belt, and I'm guessing that's what you would want to do. But how open are you going to be, and how vocal would you be to getting some crossover fights with a Bellator or whomever the PFL may want to do business with?
I mean, who wouldn't want to see Brendan Loughnane versus Pitbull?
Yeah.
Who don't want to see that shit? I'm all down. I'm down for that. Crossover fights is a great idea. And I don't know, for me now, it's legacy, and after coming off the performance that I've just had, I believe that Brendan Loughnane that showed up to the semi-finals against Chris Wade, you can put him in there with any featherweight on planet Earth, and I can beat him when I perform like that. So my main focus is just coming off the back of that win now, staying healthy, staying focused, ticking over, and being able to perform like that every time and just being in the zone like I was.
Yeah, I think, like you said, if that Brendan, which I expect not even that Brendan Loughnane to show up, but a better version of that, which is scary for the entire MMA world, if that's the guy who's walking into the cage on November 25th and beyond, which I believe it will be. When I mention everything that is on the line for this fight, obviously a world title, obviously you're talking about legacy, obviously $1 million. But when you sit back and look at it, I know the job's not done, Brendan. Just $1 million doesn't just make your career. One world title just doesn't make your career. Like you said, there's a long-lasting legacy you want to cement yourself in this sport. But what does that world title and that $1 million, what does that do for you, your family, and your legacy?
I just got goosebumps when you said that, really, because like I can't put into words what it actually means to me, because it's so deep. It's much deeper than money. It's much deeper than a belt. It's a 16-year journey of MMA, ups, downs, diets, injuries, loss of earnings, loss of girlfriends, loss of family, loss of friends. It's just a whole whirlwind of sacrifice that nobody would ever understand. So that's what I'm looking forward to showing. And when they locked the door in June 25th with me and Bubba Jenkins, he don't want it as much as I do. I know he doesn't. It's impossible to want it as much as I do. So I believe that's what will shine through in the fight.
You just took the last couple of questions out of my mouth. I was going to ask you, what do you make of this matchup against Bubba Jenkins?
Great fighter, great wrestler. But I think the difference is Bubba Jenkins grew up wrestling, and I grew up fighting. And at the end of the day, it's a fight. This is a fight. I've already shown my takedown defense against Chris Wade, against Tyler Diamond, against Pat Healy, against world-class wrestlers that I fought in the past. So it's not an easy task to take me down. It's an even harder task to hold me down. And if it stays on the feet, then, you know, the advantage is always with me.
I was going to say, it's probably the hardest task to try and stand on the feet and compete with you there. I think you've shown that. I don't need a technical breakdown, but just from a confidence standpoint, maybe for the fans, if you could describe this, when you put on such a striking clinic that you did against Chris Wade, and you know the advantages you have going against Bubba Jenkins, what can you use from an on the feet standpoint? Is there a higher confidence coming in against Bubba Jenkins, knowing obviously the advantages with you to begin with, but you're coming off a great stand-up performance and just an absolute clinic on the feet?
Yeah, and I also think that 5 rounds suits me. I was growing into that fight with Chris Wade. I could have easily done another 3 rounds, not a problem. 3, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, doesn't matter to me. And I think the advantage lies with me with the cardio. And I just think the longer the fight goes, the deeper waters it's going to go. And I just love the trenches, bro. I love it.
There's no better fighter. I don't care what promotion they're in. There's no better fighter to say they love the trenches, because you prove it each and every time you're out there. Your record speaks for itself. Your resume speaks for itself. And I know you're looking to cap it off on November 25th against Bubba Jenkins in the PFL world title fight. Lastly, before I let you go, and again, I do want to thank you so much, and hopefully I can get you back on again after this fight. But what should the PFL and everyone watching on November 25th, what should they expect?
Fireworks every time. When do I put on boring fights? When I'm always in exciting fights. So just tune in, man. Just tune in. Get the popcorn ready, and I'm gonna fight my fucking ass off for everything I've ever worked for. Believe that.
I cannot wait, and I wish you all the best. Like I said, thank you for making this happen. I've had a lot of respect for you, and I love how you've carried yourself, you know, through PFL and just throughout your entire journey of your career. I would not be happier for any person getting a belt in any promotion than for you, Brendan. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I'm saying it's because of how I truly feel. So all the best on November 25th. Hopefully we'll talk again after that fight, and can't wait to see you perform November 25th.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.